And we're live.
I love being live. It's my favorite thing.
Hey, everybody.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
So, everybody, welcome to the Badass and Indie Show with me, Kate Brockmeyer, and I'm so excited for our special guest, Dannie Fountain. Dannie,
I'm pretty stoked, too. I'm not going to lie.
Dannie, you there still?
Did we lose her?
No, I'm still here. What the fuck is going on?
She's here. Yeah. All right. So,
Dannie, where are you at right now?
I am...
Location-wise.
Sorry, you guys.
Yes.
Sorry, you guys. It sounds like we're all talking over each other, and, like, I'm hearing you say things, and then I'm also hearing things that you said 5 minutes ago.
Is that because you have the Facebook Live opened on your...
No. Okay, cool. We'll just roll with it. I am on the west side of Michigan at the moment, and I leave in 2 days for a month of adventuring in August to Raleigh and Morocco and San Francisco and a few other places.
Love it. Morocco. Doesn't that sound like a great way to spend your life? I wish Joey and I just flipped on our video so that we could see each other behind closed doors over here. And I look absolutely ridiculous. I just want you guys to know.
No, I like your Mondo band.
Mondo Monday, baby.
I love that.
I'm rocking that out. Let's see what our comments are saying. Hold on here, you guys. All right, so anyway, this weekend was kind of insane, right? We had kind of a crazy weekend. Did you guys totally check out this weekend, or did you guys work over the weekend?
I
worked. I was speaking at a conference, so when you're speaking, you kind of just end up working, right?
Naturally and organically, that's just how it breaks down, right?
What
Yeah.
conference?
I love that.
The Fear Paradox in Chicago. I spoke on Friday and was on a panel on Saturday.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Dannie is like really rocking the speaking world right now, which I love because I'm living vicariously through you. I have no time to travel and speak these days, even though I so wish I did. It's just not a good fit for my mom life. But I love that you're doing that and making all of that happen. So I'm just like watching you from afar being like, woo, seeing what you do next. I love it. So Dannie, tell us a little bit about, just give us like I know that Joey went over this previously with you on his Thursday show, but just tell everybody just a little bit of background about kind of how you got started and where your life looks like now.
Yeah. The super short story is that I got started in 2008. I was dating the child of a politician, and the politician said, "Hey, come help me." And it kind of spiraled from there. And today I'm a marketing and business strategist for creative entrepreneurs. I have worked for brands like Whirlpool and H&R Block and have had clients like Target and H&R Block and Whirlpool. And I work with entrepreneurs and corporate clients alike to brainstorm, strategize, and implement strategic plans and processes to better their business and increase the dollar bills.
Ooh, I love that.
You know, Kate has talked before. I mean, this is only episode 2, and in episode 1, Kate talked about the importance of kind of having a pitch ready to go, depending on who you're talking to. And Dannie, that was like a really, really good. I mean, I was watching you as you were giving it, and it wasn't like you were reading off of something. at least it didn't seem like it. So the fact that you know what you do, you've got that nailed down, and it sounds so good. That you did miss out one important part of all of that, which is that you're my best friend in Chicago.
And I'm Joey Vitale's best friend. So sorry.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So, okay, I sent you guys this YouTube video because over the weekend when I was doing what I call my sludge time, and I sit on Facebook and I watch all of these Facebook videos, like a stupid amount of Facebook videos, like 2-3 hours of Facebook videos, just like laying in bed while my kids are napping and I'm literally just watching these videos. I came across these videos about being a mentalist and subliminal messaging. And I love subliminal messaging because I think it happens 24/7 in our lives all the time. And I was like obsessed with watching these videos. And so I send it to you. And Dannie, you know, you and I are 10 years apart. And I love the way that your brain works. I just think that you are so brilliant and so cool. And at 23, I was doing cool things, but I was not as cool as you. So I want to know kind of a little bit, now that you've watched it, we talked about it very briefly, but what do you think about social media and subliminal messaging? Do you think that we're getting a lot of subliminal messages all the time via Facebook? I mean, when we talk about 7 to 10 touches to get your buyer to know you, like you, and trust you, which is what I always say are like the keys to closing a sale, what do you think that looks like? And especially when you're working with some of these bigger corporations, how are they leveraging that? Maybe if you can reveal, maybe not. You're like, hey, that's company secret. We don't break that out. We get it. But like, how do you think that that's impacting the way that we are receiving messages from brands, but also in the way that we should be delivering messages to our clients?
Yeah. So let's talk about Target for a second.
Oh my God, I love talking about Target. It's my favorite.
Target is my favorite example of this. So Target's social media is on point, and they're constantly sending and sharing different things that encourage you to come in store. Target's whole goal is to get you out your seat, off the internet, in the store. So the crazy thing about Target is, you know, when you walk in the store and there's the dollar spot trap, all of their messaging online is talking about collaborations and upcoming partnerships and all of that kind of stuff. But when you come into the store at Target, Target's goal is for you, a woman, so not you, Joey, to increase how much you spend by $15 purely from the dollar spot. Their goal, like, they want you to spend $15 more than you would have just from the dollar spot. That's not even talking about all the other shit we buy at Target that we really didn't need. And so Target has strategically organized the way they lay out the dollar spot so that you never actually buy the dollar items, because you buy the $3 and $5 items in the dollar spot.
Interesting.
And it's all through subliminal messaging. It's all through critical placement. It's all through the way that the dollar spot is arranged. You'll see some stores it's laid out like an E. Some stores it's laid out like an L that you walk through. And it's all catered to the local audience of how they need people to buy. So Target is one of the kings of subliminal messaging. And yes, we're seeing it online. And yes, it's working.
It's so working, and it's so great. Oh my God.
And I think what's so interesting about it is that, like, you can get very strategic with it, but you can also, like, just use simple things that you're seeing. So my wife Kat works at Panera, and one of the only things that she's ever told me about her job that, like, I kind of understood was that she, because she works on, like, the IT side of it, and she was saying how if we went to Panera together and I ordered, and I was like, I don't know what I want, and then I, like, ordered something, and she said, you fell for it. And I was like, what do you mean? She said, you looked completely above where the cash register was and ordered from the center of the menu because you didn't know what you wanted. And even something like that, I feel like business owners, creatives can start implementing, just kind of like whatever you want people to really buy, like put that in the center of your placements on different offerings and things.
Even McDonald's. Look, when you walk into McDonald's, the extra value meals have a significant amount of white space between them now, because there's only like 10. They downsized the number that they have, and they all have a lot of white space. They all take up 2/3 of the menu. Everything else, dollar menu, all of that is crunched, stacked, and on the 2 outsides.
You know, I think it's really interesting too, because I look at a lot of, listen, we go to Chick-fil-A a lot. My kids actually think McDonald's causes cancer. So when people say to my kids, like, McDonald's, they're like, no, it causes cancer. So I keep them from eating there. I'm anti-McDonald's, unfortunately for them. But, so we eat a lot of Chick-fil-A, right? Which probably isn't that much better, but in my brain it is, and so that's where we roll. And I find it so interesting that when you do go through a drive-thru, back in the day, you used to be able to see, like, all the soda choices, and now on a ton of menus, they pulled them. And it's like, it'll just say, like, drinks, Coke products. And, like, that's it. You're like, I don't even know what a Coke product, wait, what does all of that mean, right? Because these companies have bought all of these other smaller companies. And so they've got those big, like Jack in the Box has the 1,000 drink menu, right? So you can have any drink you want. We're not going to tell you which ones you can make, but any drink you want. And then they show like their, I just got a Splash and Jack drink the other day at Jack in the Box. And it's the only drink that you can actually physically see on the menu. And I was like, well, that's easiest. I'll take one of those. Boom. Right? And so like playing on that 8-second attention span, but also on like what do they really make the most profit off of with the least cost. And
Thanks.
That shit for me like makes me so happy. I love that kind of stuff. I just had a conversation with a girl in Washington DC outside of there, and we talked. She's a handmade artist, Nina's Flying Needle. If you guys look her up on Etsy. She's doing a flash sale actually in the next 24 hours, but she custom makes all these dresses and snack bags and reversible bags and all these things. And like, you know, one of the important things for companies is to go through and see what is your best seller, what doesn't sell, and what's the cost to profit ratio. And most people have no fucking idea. So like the blind leading the blind and buying new products. You know, like, oh, see what this happens. Maybe this will sell without having any idea.
Let's come back to McDonald's for a second, Kate, even though you hate it. Did you notice that they went from you being able to get any size soda for $1 anytime, anywhere, to any size soda for $1 anytime, anywhere, as long as it's a la carte? Now, if you order a medium meal and upgrade your soda to a large, keeping the rest of the meal medium, that's going to cost you 19 cents, even though they're already making 80% profit off that soda before they charge you 19 cents.
Oh, it's insane. But I love it at the same time. Like, good for them, right? Like,
yeah.
Let's look at it. Like, let's look at business as a strategy and as a place to create strategy versus just like slapping shit down and like hoping it works out, right? You know, I love that. And, you know, when you and I first met, we had a conversation about like Target, like the store Target, not Target Market. See how often I say that? It just fell right out of my mouth. I must be saying that far too much. But we talked about Target versus Walmart. And one of the things that you talked about that I absolutely love that has changed even my brain space, because I don't have any true marketing experience, was you brought up legacy marketing. And break it down for us a little bit about legacy marketing for people that haven't thought of that or have never heard of that, because I had not.
So for context for the audience, you and I were talking about how you had kind of aged out of the Target demo,
right?
But you still loved Target and you wanted to figure out like how you could keep going to Target, even though you had aged out of the market and even though a lot of the things that they sold, you weren't really buying anymore. And so I was talking about how the difference between Target and Walmart is that Target's playing a long game. They've created more than just a brand that sells shit. Target is kind of this thing where the moms have all been shopping at Target and you, Kate, have aged out of the demo, but your kids have come with you shopping at Target. And as they've grown up, as you're aging out, they're aging into the demo. And so Target's created this long-lasting cyclical relationship because as one set of people age out, the set of people that they've been bringing all along age in. And so they're never like lacking for customers because it's this flow.
I love it.
Right? And there's such a cool space for that, I think, in business and for people, that when you look at your customer service cycle and you look at the lifeline of your buyer and how long your buyer is with you, that you're really able to start figuring out, like, okay, once their kids age out of needing handmade dresses, right, by age 7, 8 years old, what's the next product that I'm going to offer to retain them as a client or market to them in a way that says, okay, buy this product for your friend who's having a baby or this or that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love
because they're
that.
already brand loyal. They're
right.
already, you just have to give them something else to buy. People want to be told what to do. Like we hate showing up to a party and nobody introduces you to anybody, right? When you show up to those parties and you get introduced to somebody, you stay, I was reading somewhere, you stay something like 160% longer at a party where you're introduced to someone than a party where you show up and you have to introduce yourself. And it's the same thing with buying. Like, once you age out of the core demo, you're going to leave unless the brand can tell you what to do next. But if the brand tells you what to do next, because you're already in love with the brand, you'll do it because you want to like keep engaged.
So
I love it.
So does that mean, because I'm seeing especially like hand makers who sell products with this issue, where it's like they have, you know, certain items that they're selling, and then they have some really, really loyal customers, and it's at some point they're at a place where their really loyal customers are like, I have everything that you put out. Like, what's
exactly
next?
Yep.
Right.
And so what is a solution in that context?
So there are two directions that the person can go. The person that owns the business can provide them lifestyle content. So say we're talking about the same dressmaker. The kids age out of the dressmaker demo, but the brand can provide lifestyle content about how you can continue to live a life where you're using made goods versus commercial goods. And they'll consume that content because they now have this deep-rooted appreciation for made goods.
Right.
And that's great, but that's not revenue producing. But it keeps them involved long enough for you to come up with something else that's revenue producing. Okay. Or the second option is have a secondary product line. Have a secondary product line that isn't necessarily age-focused, that a wider group of people can use. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Misty just commented, many of my clients have moved from cloth diapers to pants to dresses. They're following their original market, and I fear that they will follow themselves out of business. And that's where I think it's really important for people to identify between following a market of people who are buying from you just because they're your buyers and actually creating a demographic of people that you really want to target. And that's where that, in my opinion, really comes in of, you know, what am I really offering and what am I not offering? And is the people that are just buying from me buying value and find worthiness in what it is I bring to the table? You know,
that's exactly what I was just going to say. The second you follow your buyers rather than bringing your buyers along with you, you've lost the price game. If you follow your buyers, you have to price to keep them with you. If you drive them towards the next thing, you create the price because you're telling them they needed something they weren't aware they needed.
Right. I love it. I really love talking to you.
I didn't run this by either Kate or Danny. So you might say no, and that's fine. But what do you guys think if somebody was willing to write in the comments, like, here's my business and here's like my example of this struggle going through, would you guys be willing to respond to like someone's specific example in the comments?
Of course.
Hell yeah. Drop it in there, guys. Let's talk about it.
That's what I figured.
And drop us a share too. If you guys are enjoying what you're hearing and you've got a friend, or we're going to dive into a little bit of social media interaction here because that's a lot of Danny's wheelhouse too. You know, please drop out a share for them to check out what all the things are that we have going on and what we're talking about. If you're enjoying this, we would really appreciate it. So what you're saying, Joey, is that if you're somebody who's struggling with, am I following my clients or am I creating a path for my clients to follow, right?
Yep.
Throw that in the comments. Yeah, tell us what it is that you sell, and if you've got it priced goofy, like, we want to hear that too. You know, the best way to create growth for you in your business is to be someone who's coachable and who's willing to learn from others who are walking a different path than you are. So definitely throw it in there and comment that out. So one of the things that I want to really talk about, though, with you, Danny, because you have such a great expertise in this, though, is tell us a little bit about what the new stuff with Facebook Messenger is going on.
Yes. So, I mean, I'm sure 80% of our audience has their page set up to auto respond, right? But with the new deployment of the upgraded Facebook chatbot, we're able to have a conversation rather than just auto respond. And email marketing is 100% still one of the most effective written channels because of the ability to segment users, right? Segmenting targeted messages. And when you segment and target really, really well, it looks like a conversation. But with the new Facebook chatbot, we as companies can do the same thing, but in real time. And instead of guessing with email, like where we're trying to get people to click to segment themselves, a chatbot can be programmed to ask and respond accordingly. So let's talk about an example.
Yeah.
Say you're a travel agency, right? And you have a Facebook page, and people that come to the Facebook page are interested in, going on a trip. Great. Awesome. So if the person sends your Facebook page a message, Facebook's new default is to subscribe that person to the chatbot and then start a conversation sequence. So if someone sends a travel agency a message, that like your agency might reply by asking about an upcoming trip, get some more information, and then actually deliver information about that trip. Say you're a travel agency that specifically plans trips in Italy and Greece only. You can now program your Facebook chatbot to reply if the person says Italy with one set of information, if the person says Greece with another set of information. And you can custom build this yourself, which is like a lot of work. Or there's plugins and platforms like ManyChat. And ManyChat lets you build your bot based on rules. So when you ask a question, the answers are available in a menu, and you can kind of build the trigger. If anyone's used Infusionsoft and mapped up their email sequence that way, it's very similar. And now, obviously, this is a very new technology. The automation can only last so long, and eventually humans going to need to step in. So maybe you find out that they're segmented to Italy. They find out the city that they want to go to, and then you're going to need to step in and provide some information because you can only program it so far. But it's a great way to build engagement. And Facebook Messenger, because it subscribes those people to your chatbot, guess what? They're added to a list. They can be tagged, segmented, added to sequences, or sent broadcasts all through Messenger now.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
That part for me is really powerful. I personally find that auto responses are super annoying.
They're really annoying. They're really annoying.
Well, I think that it kind of depends on your market too, right? Because if I send an auto response responder back to a woman who's 50 to 54 years old that's accessing my page, in my opinion, what she immediately thinks is that she's not that important to me. And so she would almost rather have the delay than get a static response, right? So if I email somebody and I get this hey, thanks for emailing me, I only check my email on Tuesdays from 10 to 12. In my head, I'm like, you lying sack of shit. That's such bullshit. I know that you just got that email, right? That annoys me, and then I'm less likely to buy for them in the future. So Andrea Hood, a client of mine, responded saying that she didn't know auto-respond was a thing. And from my world in my business catalyst space, I'm like, you're damn right you didn't know, because I don't want you setting that shit up.
Right. But with this new chatbot, it makes it way less yucky, right? Because here's what happens. I'm a millennial. It's 2 a.m. I've thought up this really cool idea to go on a trip because I like going on trips all the time. And I want my information now. So I land on your Facebook page. I don't want just some BS autoresponder that says, hey, I'm in the office 9 to 5. I'll get back to you tomorrow. With the chatbot, now I can actually say, I'm going to Italy. In fact, I'm going to the Amalfi Coast specifically. Can you drop me prices for your standard or average Amalfi trip planning? The chatbot can be programmed to give me those prices via Facebook Messenger right away. And then guess what? I'm not wasting my time talking to you if I can't afford that. You're not wasting your time on a call with me only to find out that that's outside my budget. So for the people doing that research at 2 a.m, which all of us millennials do, it's a great way to actually get warm leads delivered to you right when you wake up and have already weeded through the cold leads to get rid of them.
I love that. So that does really elevate the opportunity as the owner or as the business to provide instant gratification, right? Which we know people want. They need that instant attention, but also to kind of qualify through, which is very helpful, especially if you can make it really sound like your voice instead of I'll get back to you when I have availability, versus that's super cool.
I was talking with someone the other day and they brought up a really good point where and this is just being blunt here, if the people that are eventually placed on more of an automated response thing are people that are not really warm leads and may never become them, then that can be a more effective thing of doing it. So he's an attorney, and he understands the power of kind of automation and delegation, but he also understands the importance of staying human in all of this stuff. And he was like, if somebody asks me a question, and I can figure out a way to figure out what their question is and automatically send them a link to a post where I answer it, and then put them on a sequence where, yes, they can probably tell that it's not automated, but they're also getting tips and information from me, and it's easy and it's automated, and I try and make it as human as possible. I'm not as worried about not coming across 100% human with that person. I think
it goes back to your buyer.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
As well, like how big is your company, and B, what is really your buyer, and what is their emotional response going to be to your engagement? I think it comes across too in your branding. Like, are you big corporate? Is your goal to be big corporate? Are you mom and pop shop? Like, all of those things really play into it. And, we've got so many people that are in business that are the blind leading the blind, right? And when we really start to break that down, there's just no strategy behind what anyone's doing or even what they're teaching people to do. And so therefore, we're constantly finding people that are drowning in business or putting out a ton of money that they shouldn't be putting out for a return that's never going to come. And so, all of those things really play into it. Danny, Joey's got a big creative following of his clients, and I've been kind of growing that space as well. When we talk about being a creative in business, where do you think that they should be hanging out social media wise? I mean, we know that their target markets are all going to vary and be different, but when we look at all of these platforms, where do you think, can you kind of break down for us, like, what platforms are better for what people, or, I don't know, give us a little feedback on that.
Yeah. So Twitter is not the place to have in-depth conversations. Twitter is the place to broadcast information really quickly. The average tweet stays at the top of a feed for like 2.5 seconds before it's buried with other tweets. So when you tweet something out, you have 3 seconds for people to see it. Like, that's not the place to have long conversation. But Twitter is great if you have a ton of content to get out. Break it down into 140 character little messages. Tweet that shit out. Instagram, not the place to be selling. Not the place to be selling.
Amen.
Instagram
Wait a minute. Hold up. I'm sorry. That's like my favorite thing ever. And I love you like 1,000 times more than I.
Well, and this is coming from somebody who I know loves them some Instagram.
Jojo knows. Jojo knows.
How many followers do you have on Instagram now, Danny?
11 point something.
So 11,000.
So wait, you're high enough now to where you have a K.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's like something people like are chasing after, right? Is like the K.
People chase the K, but here's two things. First of all, Instagram is not the place to sell. If your goal is to drive people from Instagram to your checkout, get the fuck off Instagram. Like, please. But second of all, the K shouldn't be your goal either, because I want to see your engagement rate be high. So Red Bull has like one of the biggest brand accounts on Instagram. They've got millions of followers. Red Bull's engagement rate is like 0.06 last time I did the math. Because people are following for the vanity follow to say, oh, I follow Red Bull on Instagram.
Yeah.
Not to actually engage with the content.
Okay, well, finish your thought, sorry.
You never want to get to a place where you're just a vanity follow. So like your goal on Instagram should be building community, building a group of people that are actively interested in what you're talking about, and that know you're not there to sell, and that they're not there to buy. It's relationship building. Instagram is an early part of the funnel. Sales come later in that loyalty loop.
Okay, so a couple follow-ups to that.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, if you're a business, you can be on Instagram and not be selling, but still be a business.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can talk about what your business is doing. You can, without selling, you can still, let people know that certain conversations are happening or things that can lead them into, you're, giving giving you their email, whatever. But what exactly about engagement? Does that just mean when you post something and people comment that you respond to their comments? Does that mean that you have to kind of get off of your own account and follow hashtags and message other people?
So 2 answers. One answer to something earlier you said, and then second answering to what is engagement. Tyler McCall, who's actually hanging out on this video, I just saw he joined a bit ago. Tyler McCall is one of the kings of getting people on Instagram to join their email list. So go check out what he is doing.
Where can we find him on Instagram?
At Tyler J. McCall. He also does Instagram lives that get people to sign up for his Instagram or for his email list. What he's doing and what a few other folks are doing really, really well is posting Instagram stories or posting content that's incredibly valuable and then saying, if you want more, DM me or email and I'll put you on my list. So Instagram isn't a place that you can do sales very well, but hell yes, Instagram is a place where you can be like, DM me your email and I'll get you on my list so you get more of this content. And he does that really well. Go ahead.
No, you go.
To answer the engagement question, so a really easy way to calculate your engagement is to add up all the comments and likes on your last 9 posts, divide that number by 9, and then divide it by your total followers. 3-ish%, like 1 to 3% is okay. Anything over 3%, unfortunately, you're slaying the game because we're seeing really low engagement on Instagram because people build their followers, but they're not building engagement. If you're over 10%, whatever you're doing, don't you freaking change because over 10% is amazing. But that engagement, it's not an if you build it, they will come. Like, sure, hashtags, like hashtag strategies, all of that to get people to your page. But you have to build community. You have to hang out on other people's Instagrams. Like, I watch Tyler McCall's lives, A, because I love the dude, but B, because the community that happens inside his lives is awesome. And I find new people to follow and like learn from by watching his lives. So engage with other people's content.
Okay, I love that. So, because I just want to get a better sense of like what this practically looks like for you. So when you decide that you're going to get on Instagram and like engage, do you just kind of go through your feed and kind of see what's there, or do you have like a list of like 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 specific accounts that you want to make sure you touch on every day?
Mix of both.
Okay.
So people whose content I engage with every single day: Natalie Frank, Tyler McCall, Jenna Kutcher, Joey Vitale when he's doing Instagram.
That's because I tag you. That's because I tag you like everything.
And then a few other branded and regular accounts, and then I have a few travel folks that I follow for that side of my business.
Cool.
But then I'm also, so I don't really scroll through my Instagram newsfeed because I'm following something like 3,000 people, and the people that I want to see don't show up there.
Yep.
So I'm specifically searching people, and then I'm also looking at hashtags around things that I want to have a conversation around. So if I am right now in the mood to have a conversation around travel, I'm going to go start searching travel, wanderlust, off-road type hashtags and join in the conversation. So I'll tell you the recent people I've visited. My top 3 are my partner, Jenna Kutcher, and Adam JK. And then recent, I apparently go to Jaclyn Hill, the beauty YouTuber's Instagram all the time. Virgin Hotels Chicago, because I was just there. Laura Reed, who's a travel blogger. Burgundy Fox Co. Hannah Hart, Kicking It with Kutch, who is Jenna Kutcher's husband. Detroit Rose Ritual, which is my favorite candle company. Indie law firm Copper Kettle Co. Bosscation. And the 4 hashtags I look at the most often are That's Darling, Monday Introductions, Fearless Foxes, and hashtag entrepreneurship, according to my recent search.
And how did you find that information? Was there a button that you went to?
Oh, so I went into Instagram and I tapped the little search bubble.
Okay.
And then I tapped as if I was going to type something to search. and it shows you suggested, and suggested is usually your top 3 people that you visit. Cool. And then it shows you recent people you visited and hashtags.
Love it. Okay.
No, I think that's so great. You know, Instagram for me, I mean, I have 40 followers and I'm following 30. And I have an old one for my previous company, and, you know, Instagram for me becomes, it's just like another thing on the plate. And I feel like if you're going to do social media, whatever platform you fall on, you need to do it 110%, right?
Oh, yeah.
So for me, my buyers are on Facebook. I've never seen a return on Instagram or Twitter. I like the idea of the email list. You know, I'm behind on the times on this email list thing. I keep trying to become a believer and believe in ClickFunnels and believe in all this stuff. I'm really struggling with it because the business that I build is not based off of, I mean, I have an email list. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of cold emailing. I've got about 8,000 people on it. It's not necessarily people that are out like saying like, I want to be following Kate Brockmeyer, right? Mm-hmm. I could start building that, but for me, it's like, shit, I don't have time for that. Like, I can't even imagine what that looks like. And I know that it's important. That's why I have Sparks, right? My co-founder, she does all of that piece and the tech and the build out. But I've had a hard time building that space. So
okay,
it's on my list of things too.
I agree with you, Kate, because I think that, like, you and I are both examples of business owners who, like, we figured out what social media platform worked most effectively, which was Facebook, and we went like 150% into just that, and now we're trying to build the other systems in place. So Danny, you're like, this is like what you do, and feel free to be like, Joey, you have to pay for X or go to this website to hear this. But if someone's just starting out, okay, like expenses are at zero, they're not paying for anything, all of their social media accounts are brand new. Mm-hmm. And obviously there's some overlap here, but in terms of starting, when it comes to blogging, email newsletters, Facebook, Instagram, like what of those need to be, or do you recommend like having from the start?
So 4 steps. First, define your fucking passion. Like, you have a business, that's great, that's wonderful, but we are multi-passionate people. And so what is your business today might shift 5 years from now, 7 years from now, 10 years from now. So define your root passion, because that's what you want to build a conversation around, not your current business. So for Kate, it's not your current business that you build it around. It's changing people's lives. Like, that's your passion. So first, define your passion. 2, find your center. So define the 5 core topics that you want to be talking about that relate to your passion. So Jenna Kutcher is a really good example of this. She talks about weddings, mac and cheese, travel, body positivity, and her family, her husband and her dogs. Define 5 things that you're going to rotate through. Step 3, find your people. So who are the people that are passionate about the same or complementary things? So I'm a whiskey person, I'm a tattoo person, but I have a lot in common with rock and roll people. Rock and roll people don't always, like, correlation is not causation, or however that goes. Rock and roll people don't always like whiskey and tattoos, but rock and roll people and I tend to have a lot in common. So find people who are passionate about the same or similar things. Step 4, watch your people. So for me, my people are on Instagram. For Joey, for Kate, your people are on Facebook. Watch your people, see where they hang out. And then step 5, start a conversation where your people hang out. So, and the crazy thing is, when you're new to business, when you're at ground zero, when you have nothing, you don't need to be on every single platform. Mm-hmm. I recommend 2. I recommend 1 social, 1 not social. So maybe it's like email and Instagram, or blogging and Facebook. But you don't have to be on all of them. Pick the ones where your people are. And as you grow into more platforms.
I love that.
Yeah, that's such a great line. As you grow into more platforms. That's a great way to break it down. I love that. So, where are we at here? We're still rocking and rolling. I love this. When we look at all of this social media stuff, you guys, and, I've been in business for a long time, so I have a little bit of a different, more old school view in a lot of ways. But when we look at really the growth of social media and the interaction that we have with business and the way that we interact and build relationships, right? Like 10 years ago, trying to grab a phone call with Danny to try and blast out any type of content was very different, right? Mm-hmm. What do we think are some things going forward for people that might be, maybe you have like an idea of like a future trend or something that you see coming up? Like, do you have any tips for people that are trying to figure out, like, where do I go with this long term? Does that make sense?
Where do we go with deciding where to have a conversation long term?
Just like where, when you think about business in 5 years, right? What do you think that people should be thinking about in regards to how they interact in their social media? Does that make sense?
So I'm going to give an answer that I think you might not like, but that's cool.
I don't think.
I think that 5 years from now, we're going to be reclaiming the offline.
Yes!
I think, like, we're starting to get to a point, and we're seeing it, right, with people shutting down their Facebook groups, with a bit of the anarchy that's going on in the online space. I think that we're going to see a return to offline, and it kind of ebbs and flows, right? But we're going to see a return to offline communication.
I love that you think I wouldn't like that, but that's actually what I preach in my to my clients, and really in teaching people how to run a successful long-term business, is that your online plays a space, but get the hell off of it, because the community, the connections, and the collaboration from knowing real people who really know their clients is truly the future of building a successful foundational long-term business. So I actually love that. I was a beat the streets kind of kid back in the day, where business cards going door to door, one-on-one. Hey, I'm so-and-so. This is what I do. I'd absolutely love to talk to you if you know anybody or if you're interested. Hey, here's an offer for your employees. When I first started my photography company, I would literally, no shit, start in one end of town and walk down every single store, shop, brick and mortar, construction company, whatever it was, handing out an employee package discount with my photography company. And it became a perk of being an employee of one company or another. And I'm always, it's solution-driven mentality. So really being able to look at your business and then come up with solutions that are creative, that are individualized to you. I mean, I think that's part of the reason I got out of the photography world, is because I saw the bubble starting to bust. And mm-hmm. Where was I going to end up on the other end of not being able to share or tag a photo, right? I love it.
So here's the thing, Kate, right? While you were talking, I just went and searched in my calendar to see when the first time it was that Joey and I hung out. And it was the beginning of April. So we're about 3 months past that now. And y'all heard a little bit ago, Joey just called me his best friend in Chicago.
Yes.
Offline relationships build deeper, build stronger, build further, faster than online relationships do. Like, Joey's a guy that I would say that I would lean on personally and professionally. Yep. And we've known each other 3 months.
Yep.
Like, Joey and I talk, your butts offline.
Right? Joey and I talk almost every day.
Pretty much.
Like, weekends, Friday night, like, it doesn't matter. My husband's like, who are you talking to? I'm like, what do you think? He's like, Joey. Or it's Andrea with mine. One of those two, right? And, there was a conference that we were all supposed to go to this week down in Alabama that didn't end up coming to fruition. For a variety of reasons. However, one of the things that I was most pissed off about, and I offered to go down and teach for free, was because I had clients going there and I wanted to hug them. Like, I want that interaction, right? And that was what I kept saying on the phone when we were deciding, like, should the three of us, Joey, Sparks, and I are all on a conference call, what do we do? I'm like, I'll teach for free. I have clients there. I need to hug them. That's what I kept saying over and over again. And it's so important to me that I get to have that interaction, that energy, that real life impact. Because it does create a much stronger, for me, yes, it is strategy based, but I'm also come from a big family and I just love a big group hug of people that you talk to and drill business all the time. And I want to be able to wrap my arms around you, and I can't do that if I can't touch you, right?
Yep.
So,
that's been one of the biggest benefits of this Nomad year. Like, yeah, the travel's been amazing. Speaking at conferences has been amazing. But I get to meet so many people. I've gotten to see Natalie Frank twice already this year. I'm going to see her again next month. Like, I get to meet some people that I haven't met ever next week at a conference. Megan of Two Bright Lights, we literally only see each other at conferences, and we'll have got to seen each other like 2 or 3 times this year. 3 times, because twice Creative at Heart and then once in New York in September. Like, meet people offline, please, people.
You know, I love it. And I think a similar thing that I think you guys will both also agree with is that part of the return to offline is also moving away from this passive income online business.
Oh, yeah. Thing. Megan Maydell said it great the other day. Like, courses are dead. Courses are dead. Like, the e-course game is over.
What do you mean by that? Or what?
That
like,
means...
what was, like, what other stuff did she say there in terms of, like, examples or, like...
So she was just talking about, so I really hope Megan Maydell isn't watching this, but she was just talking about how she bought like a $1,500 or $2,000 e-course like 2 years ago.
Oh, that breaks my heart.
And she hasn't even opened it. She bought B School 2 or 3 years ago. She only made it a third of the way through it. And that is not uncommon. We are investing massive, huge sums of money in courses that we never open or never finish or
never, yeah.
I
mean, that's fine. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So with that being said, and we're all recognizing that, and we're seeing it because people are having to offer increasingly loose payment plans. We've seen it go from like 3-month payment plan options to 1-year payment plan options. I just saw a course launched the other day. It was $99 a month for a year. It's because people aren't willing to invest anymore. And so they need like, oh, this is so affordable. How could I not? But then it's really not that affordable because they never open it.
I love hearing it because
that's busting.
It's validating what I've experienced and heard. So for those of you guys who don't know, last year I was trying to build a basically like an online course that was legal related. And I stopped, and kind of on my way out, I connected with Kate. And I said, I'm leaving this company, I'm starting my own law firm. And Danny, you know like the creative landscape pretty well. A lot of legal assistance in this space is courses, products, trying to productize being a law firm. And I'm always tempted to go there. And it's been great to have Kate in my corner to say, A, that's not really where your passion is, and like that's not what's going to make you happy, but also like that's going to force you to be the cheapest option because that's who's going there right now.
Well, and I think that there's, every time I get on the phone with a new client for B3 Core, one of the things I say is, we have this $99 level, and you're welcome to get in on it and watch videos and get on our group accountability calls and call it a day. But really, kick it up into the next step with us, and let's get on a phone call. And I would rather be spending all of my time in phone calls and Zoom chats and actually making real impact with people than being like, oh, yeah, watch a couple videos and get back to me, right? Because there's that, for me, like, I want you to invest 6 to 12 months. I want to impact your space, and then I want you to go the hell out and kick it and get out of here. And I think the mentality of being broken forever, which is what a lot of people that are doing online courses are trying to bank off of, I think that ship is dead. I think that ship has sailed, and you don't need people to be broken. They're a better megaphone for you if they're out killing it than if they're at home, tucked up in their bed just listening to your voice over and over again. And I think there's some really cool spaces where when I don't coach coaches. I don't help people create other platforms to teach people about how to coach them through life or business. That's not my space. Mostly because I just find that very frustrating in that way because they don't want to go out and get business, right? And business is hard. 90% of people fail because business is actually harder than they think it is. And they want to. So if you think business is easy, go get yourself a fucking job because you're in the wrong neck of the woods. It's not
Kate,
supposed to be hard.
I love that you said that because I am increasingly seeing entrepreneurs who are coming into the space because they've always been successful in school and at life. And if you're on Facebook or you listen to podcasts, you hear this messaging that like now is the time to be an entrepreneur. And you're like, well, I've never really failed before or been bad. And so you think that you can just enter into this space, follow steps well, just read the instructions, and you'll be successful.
Right. Nope. And it's just that's not reality, right? And it's good for people to fail in business, right? Because then they have a greater appreciation for the people that make it versus the people who don't. And you have your whole life to sit by and watch shit go by you if you want. But if you want to go out and make something of your life, and, Joey and I have talked a lot about, like, going on vacation, right? There's really no going on vacation when you own a business. Mm-hmm. When you do go on vacation, you set yourself back 3 to 4 months in business because the minute you stop pumping the funnel dies, right? But
you can't pause it. So I just want to underscore that. You don't pause it. Everything in there just falls through.
Right. And you just and when you do pause your business, you've squished the life out of everything. Because once you stop posting and you end your engagement, you end your ability to create that buyer space, right? And so, but what you're trading in for is working from a coffee shop in Italy or working beachside or, clocking in at 2 a.m. versus clocking in at 9 a.m., right? And so that's where people need to look at it like, listen, I eat, sleep, breathe. I respond when I'm at a family reunion. I respond at 9 o'clock at night. Although if I'm sleeping, you're not getting shit from me because my phone is dead. But otherwise, like, I am in it to win it. And that's the mentality that we really need to, pull from people is that winning is the game and there's a strategy to the game, and to win, you have to play.
There are two different types of business owners, I feel like. Because there are some that sit in the camp of, I went into business for a better work-life balance, which is great and amazing, and they want to set their own hours. But to get there, you have to work the 80-hour weeks. If you want to quickly get to a place where you can work 15, 30 hours a week, it's going to take some hustle first. Yep. So there's the camp of people that want to get to that place, but they forget that piece has to happen first. And then there's the camp of people, which I feel like the three of us live in, the camp of people that are in business because we're passionate about business. And so we are really bad at turning it off.
I love that distinction. Kate and I have talked before about how, like, if you are in the entrepreneur space because you just read the 4-Hour Workweek, you have to read another book.
Like, oh my God, I hate that book.
And I don't hate it as strongly as Kate does, but I completely see the point, and I think it ties in really well with what Danny just said, which is that if you're in the space because you're chasing after this, like, easy thing, and you think that you can just kind of hack an entrepreneurial life into being, you don't just get there.
Or if you do get there quickly, it's some kind of subcontracting model where someone else is doing the work of sales and marketing and you're just producing the work, right? It's some kind of thing where you're subcontracting work from someone else and you're not having to do like half of the things that most people have to do to get clients.
Well, it's the death of the viral business, right? Something went viral. I closed $600,000. Now I'm down 22%. I'm pissed because how do I go viral again? Well, you don't. Mm-hmm. You're never going to go viral again because that's not reality of owning a business. So you are not going to go viral. You went viral. You got lucky. Good for you. That's not sustainable business. So now you have to go back and relearn the foundations of what it really means to be in business.
So I love this conversation so much. I feel like I'm starting all of my sentences with, like, I love X. And this is really why I wanted to start a show like this and why I think Kate and I, like, jumped on it so quickly, this idea, because I started a business. I didn't really understand what I was doing, like, a year ago. I was trying to follow a lot of business experts that were coming my way, I was experimenting, I was failing, I was pivoting quickly. I met Kate. Kate was telling me things that I had never heard before. Or she was saying, don't listen to X, Y, Z. And I listened to it, and I was getting results from it. And I think that it can be hard in this space if you're not a coach, because, or if you're you've never done business before, because there are a lot of people out there who will tell you that whatever advice you're getting from somebody is not accurate or isn't the right way to do things. And Danny, when I met you at that coffee shop in April, I was excited to meet you because the person who connected us with is fantastic. But you probably remember, I would lead a lot of conversations in a place where I was like, I don't really know how you're going to feel about this, but this is what I think. And the fact that we connected made me know right away that you and Kate would get along. And I'm really excited for the future of this Monday morning show because it allows us to have this space for conversations that I don't think are happening.
Right.
Agreed.
Well, they're not. And, there's a lot of people walking on ice, and they're terrified that they're going to say something's going to piss people off, or they're worried, or all of these things. And, I think that when we get into these meetings, we do kind of tend to be like, so I'm going to say this. And what I always tell people is, I'm going to give you my 2 cents. You can keep it, take it, or throw the shit out the window. Whatever you want to do with it, that's on you. But what I suggest is, right? And I don't even worry anymore if I'm going to piss people off, because if I'm going to piss you off, I'm going to piss you off anyway. It's not going to matter. It's going to be mad, right? It is what it is. So, when we look at it in that way, what we want to really focus on, I think, in regards to these conversations, is having tough conversations with people where they might walk away sad and not being worried about it. They might walk away mad. They might walk away where you touched a fear button for them, and that's okay. Because people are living in fear 24/7, right? And so when we have these conversations that make ruffle the feathers a little bit, in my opinion, it's good. I want to ruffle your feathers. I either want you to love me or hate me. Don't fall in between. That's lame. That's what I think. It's where I'm at. No, I love this. And I think that, it's really fun for Joey and I to talk to different people, bring different content, but to also not be afraid to upset people,
So good.
Yeah, I love it. Danny, thanks so much for rocking and rolling with us. And this was awesome.
Yeah,
I love
anytime. You guys know I love hanging out with you.
Maybe next time we'll all be in my apartment again together.
Yes.
Maybe eventually I won't be coughing.
That would be cool too.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm on a shit ton of meds. You'd think I'd be better, but
yeah, your health is getting better, right, Kate?
I think so. I went to the doctor on Friday, and he cut me 4 medications. Like a Z-Pack, a steroid, an antibiotic, and then like these little, you guys ever had cough balls? That's what my friend calls them. They're like, yeah, so it's like a prescribed cough medicine that comes in like a little ball of liquid, and they're super tiny. You like pop them one every 8 hours, and they typically work really well. I'm wondering if I didn't take that one today because I was coughing a ton. But yeah, so I don't know. I feel better. I feel like 75%, except for when I cough. And, it's moving up in the world. Maybe by winter, when everyone else is getting actually sick with their winter cold,
you'll be
you'll be immune system
right?
prepared. Yeah.
I'm good to go.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Danny, for being on this. Kate, ready to rock it with you next week. Listeners, if you've enjoyed this, the best thing that you can do is to leave us a 5-star review on our business pages. That means a ton, especially if you could jump onto Danny's page and not just 5-star, but give her a comment with maybe some takeaways that you've learned that you've appreciated here. That way we can kind of get a sense of what topics are good and who to bring back, because I'm sure we'll be doing it with Danny again soon.
Love it.
Can't get enough of these two. Sorry, guys.
All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to end things over here. And Kate and Danny, I'll probably talk with both of you guys later today.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Later.